You jump right into it, man. You just
early.
Foot on the gas.
Right.
You know what I mean? Okay, first we got to get our intro out of the way, right?
Right.
Now we coming to you live tonight. James Chicken and Waffles. It's all
Inside
good.
the
We
restaurant.
understand. We are inside the restaurant. We still have customers around us. We have stuff going on, but we are live with the man, the one and only Dame's Chicken and Waffles. And tonight we're gonna talk to him about what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur in the restaurant field, especially in the competitive triangle. I'm sorry.
Hey.
But Durham, the Bull City, is known for his food, and this man has stood out. But before we do anything else, let's get our intro done. Hit me one time.
Oh, no, man.
Okay, well, don't hit me one time. It's the Capital City Podcast. I'm your host, Capital J, alongside my main man,
DL Glass.
And tonight our special guest is Dame from Dame's Chicken and Waffles. I already gave you all the introduction that you need. So we'll get right to it. First, since we have this man here, we're going to find out who he is first. Who is this guy? I met this guy when I was in college. Believe it or not, we were actually roommates one summer.
Yeah.
So I've known Dame for a long time, you know?
18, 19 years old.
That's
Right. And I met this guy named Damien. I said, hey, man, this guy's smart, he's athletic, and he is good with the ladies.
Right.
So we're going to...
And that was in the 80s, right?
Yeah, so we're going
Early
to...
90s.
Yeah, we're gonna put our powers together.
Right.
But nah, this man's been a good friend to me and the people around me. And tonight, I just wanted to learn a little bit more because you know somebody for a long time. So first, before we get into the restaurant business, which is what it's going to be about, you know, tell me about Damien Moore. Where are you from? How did you end up in the restaurant business? This isn't a path that everybody takes. So tell us how you got here.
Well, I'm a native North Carolinian, truly. But my parents met and got married in New York City in the early 70s. My mother's from Clinton, North Carolina. My father's actually from Tampico, Mexico. And that's kind of how it began. Their relationship didn't work out. So mom came back down south. And I came back home with mom's. And instead of settling in Clinton, North Carolina, where she grew up, she settled in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And that's where I was raised. And until I became of age and went on to college. Yeah, for sure. The 2-6.
Right. So in Fayetteville, this is, you know, we graduated at the same time. So this is the 80s.
Yeah.
What was Dame like growing up, you know?
Oh, wow. Let's see. I was, a child of a single parent, hardworking mother, and my mother was certainly a great homemaker.
Right.
Very hardworking woman. She actually worked in the judicial system for 40 some odd years, so she was tight with discipline around the crib.
Right.
And fortunately for me, later on in life, I benefited from that because it kept me out of a lot of trouble when I was young. And while other kids was out in the street all night and doing their thing, I stayed on the porch for quite a while.
Right.
And I did my fair share of dirt, as we say, but I was never, really heavily in the streets as a young person. I understood it. I respected it. A lot of my friends were. And in Fayetteville, you can't really avoid that element because it's on every corner. You just got to know how to maneuver and be smart about it. I was a relatively good student in school. Was student athlete, extracurricular student as well. Did fairly well academically in school to the point where I got an academic scholarship to UNCG, and that's kind of how I landed at UNCG.
Right. Okay, so he's no slow drip.
Right. Were you always cooking?
Yeah, actually I was. Being a mother working, full-time job, you get tired of eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at the crib, so you figure out how to put it together and heat up leftovers. And, by the time I graduated high school at my mother's house, I was pretty independent, domestically. I could do my own laundry and cook for myself and provide for myself, kept my house, in order and everything. And so I was adept at cooking. It wasn't until later in life that I found out it was really in my blood. On both sides of the family, there are great, phenomenal cooks in my family. My father's from Tampico, but his roots actually go back to Louisiana. So that's in my family. And then on my mother's side of the family, we're Southern.
Okay.
From North Carolina to South Carolina, as far back as we can go.
You country as hell. You
Oh, yeah.
but
The Sampson County is for real.
so your dad was Mexican, or
My father's Mexican and Creole, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, my mother's African American.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's why Dan would kick that Spanish out every now and then back in the day. People like, man, you ain't Spanish.
Well, you know, it's interesting because I didn't grow up with my father. So I grew up with my mother and that side of the family. So although it's in my blood, I really didn't have a pathway to it until later in life when I met my father.
But you always felt it though, didn't you?
I knew I was different.
Yeah.
I knew I was different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who this light skin dude with this curly hair all up in the hood?
Yeah.
Because we started. I mean, I literally, grew up in the projects until I was about 8, 9 years old, and then we moved to, lower income housing. But it was still, a struggle.
Right.
You know, I never wanted necessarily needed everything, but my mother didn't have a lot of discretionary income.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's fast forward. We're in school, and I remember you graduating and going off to work, but you weren't going off to work in the culinary industry.
No, not at all.
So where did this pivot happen? The Dame that I knew was not preparing to be a restaurateur.
Not at all.
So when did this happen, and how did it happen?
Yeah, so my degree is in business management and marketing, and I graduated from the Bryan School of Business, highly esteemed business school in North Carolina. And when I was in undergrad, I like a lot of college kids, worked in restaurants and hotels to make money, make the ends meet, so to speak. So I did everything from working in the kitchen to waiting tables, and kind of enjoyed it. I like the adrenaline.
Right.
I like the action, as they say, of working in a restaurant. But I never really thought I'd do it professionally.
Right.
But when I got out of school, I moved to this area, and I went to work for a telecommunications company. I did sales and marketing work for a tech firm, and I just had this longing to continue to cook. So I started a little catering business that I really just did. It's kind of a fluke. A friend of mine worked for a sales company, and she needed some lunches for one of her clients, and she knew I like to cook. So she asked me to put some platters together for her, and I did it. They really, really liked it. And she was like, "Can you do this again?" Mm-hmm. I said, "I got a full-time job. Like, this is not really what I'm aspiring to do, but, I rock with you, so I'll do it together, do it for you, what have you." And that kind of spawned the notion of, let me just do this for fun. And so initially, I started a catering business out the house. And I was just doing catering like on the weekends and, just for friends and family and like, a small birthday party here and there. You need some wings, you need some deli sandwiches, you want some trays, I'll put it together. And had a few signature dishes I did. And then it got to the point where I had to start develop a little corporate clientele, not just, individual private clientele. And they were calling me to come do jobs during the middle of the week.
Right.
I'm like, I got a 9-to-5 job. I can't really do it. But the money was kind of like, it's about $400 or $500 for 2 hours worth of work. I was like, I'll figure this shit out. I'll figure this out. So I ended up I would take vacation time from work to go cater.
Right.
Like my, PTO or whatever. And it was going pretty good, man. It was going pretty good. I'm still working out the house, still got my full-time job. But then about 3 years into my job, the company that I worked for gave me an opportunity to go overseas and work. So initially it was just supposed to be like, you had counterparts overseas. I was primarily in Asia and the Caribbean, and I would fly out, spend a few days, a week or so, work, and come back home, boom, boom, boom. And that was going pretty good. I was enjoying that because, corporate lifestyle traveling is pretty much you get a nice per diem, you get to travel for free, get to see the world. And I was having a good time. I was young and single, I was enjoying myself. And then that materialized into an opportunity to actually move to Asia and live as an expatriate. And so I did that. Wow. I did that, and I was like, what catering business? I'm gone.
Right, where were you?
I was going to Hong Kong.
Okay.
So initially it was in Japan.
I'm sorry. How many kids you probably got walking around Hong Kong?
None, man. None.
So, like you living their life.
I had a good time.
I know.
I had a good time, man. But nah, man. That wasn't really what my mind was. Okay. Nah, man. It was cool. I actually had I was in a committed relationship at the time.
Oh, you're going with that. Okay.
Yeah. and I ultimately married that young lady.
Oh,
and she
okay.
gave me 2 children, 2 beautiful children.
Great.
Right on.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you actually know them very well.
Right. I DJ'd the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Right.
but no, it was a great lifestyle to still be, young. I was barely 30 years old, and traveling and seeing things that most people don't see all their life. So I was very blessed in that regard. And I did that for about 2 years. And then I got dealt that vicious corporate hand called layoff. And that's the first time I had dealt with that. It's the first company I worked for. And I got laid off with like 3,000 or 4,000 other people at the same time. But what was a benefit to me was that because I was overseas, the company was contractually obligated to bring me back to the United States and give me a job. Because they sent me overseas, so they couldn't just leave me hanging.
Right.
So, excuse me, I come back from overseas, and I go to human resources, and they're like, "Well, you got a couple of choices. You could take a job here, but I can't guarantee you that job won't be impacted by layoffs again, or you can take this check." I said, "Well, what's the check?" The check was your last year's salary all at one time.
Jeez.
I don't remember how fast I signed, but I think I left the room before the ink dried. I was out. So I figured this out, and so it gave me the cushion I needed to be able to survive while I tried to figure out everything else.
Right.
And initially, I thought about going back into corporate, but I said, let me try my hand at the entrepreneurial thing. I had a nice little run before I went overseas with the catering. Let me see if I can jump back in that and make it go. Then I got enough money to survive off of for a while. And it's just me right now. I wasn't married yet. I didn't have any kids. So if I blow it, I can bounce back and recover. And so that's the path I took.
Right.
And that's how I started my catering business. And I did that back out the house for a little while until I partnered up with a friend of mine who also had a catering business. We had a commercial kitchen. And he had enough space to let me sublease the space with him. So I could get my paperwork together, insurance and all that kind of stuff. So I was, going legit at that point, and I was all in. And that's really the beginning of how I started professionally in the culinary world.
So this, just for a timeline's sake, during this period, I called him. He catered my wedding, and this is before Dame's Chicken and Waffles opened.
Yeah, Blue Mountain Catering.
Blue Mountain Catering was the business. And this location that the catering business was operating out of was also the original Dame's location, correct?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a little bit of history for y'all.
Greensboro.
No,
Durham.
this is Durham, downtown
I started
Durham,
everything in Durham, yeah.
Main Street.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, okay. Now the big moment.
Yeah.
When do we go from Blue Mountain Catering to Dame's Chicken and Waffles? Because this is a rebranding.
Yeah.
Like this is a master class in rebranding. If you don't know, if you start off as one thing and that's okay, and you change it to something else, but it's still kind of in the same lane, you have done a rebranding.
Yeah.
And this man rebranded, and the rebrand was on the money.
Yeah, I was blessed, man. So I had the catering business, and I did that with some success for about 6-7 years. I struggled a lot because there was a lot of things about business as an entrepreneur I didn't understand or didn't pay attention to.
When did you make that transition? What year are we looking at?
I came back from Hong Kong in 2000 and jumped in feet first and bounced around from my house into a couple of commercial kitchens. But by 2004, I was in the space that was the original location.
So I don't mean to cut you, but so how did you get in that space? Like getting the restaurant.
Yeah, sure.
All of it.
Yeah. At the time, the restaurant was a Jamaican restaurant. An older mom and pop had the restaurant, and I had linked up with a good friend of mine, Brian Lawson, who knew the owners of the restaurant, and he put a bug in my ear that they were trying to get out of the restaurant. And so we actually kind of came together under Blue Mountain Catering. He was really big in the entertainment locally.
Yeah, I remember DJing for him a few times.
Yeah, he had the power company on lock, and he was killing it. And he and my ex-wife were really good friends from D.C. They grew up, from
So
D.C.
the power company was still open during this time.
Yeah, but the power company was next door, literally the next door to Blue Mountain Catering.
Right. For those of you that don't remember, the power company was awesome. For those of you that do remember, Dame started right next door. More history. All right.
So my back door was their front door, and vice versa.
The power company was the club.
Yeah.
It was the club.
It was the club in Durham.
The new folks
for
No, it was the club in North Carolina.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was cranking.
Right.
It was cranking. It was cranking, man. I had some fun there. But I met Brian through my ex-wife, and he and I realized we probably had some things we could collaborate on.
Right.
And so we joined forces and moved forward with Blue Mountain Catering in 2004 in that space. And so we did that for about 5 years. And it was pretty cool, man. I met a lot of people in the entertainment industry, did well with catering, bumped my head a few times, made some bad business decisions.
Like what?
Recovered from that. Taxes.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, taxes, man. You got to pay them taxes, bro.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we're educating the listener.
Yeah.
When you first starting out, man, you have good intentions, and you want to make sure you cover all your bases. And some things I just delayed and said, I'll come back and pay that later. I'll do that later. Right now, I got to keep the lights on, and eventually that can catch up to you.
Right.
And when them boys come knocking at the door, they don't want to hear about what your intentions were. They want to know where their money's at.
Right.
So it wasn't from lack of knowledge of taxes. It was just you avoid paying them.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Okay.
I was hard headed.
Right.
I was hard headed, and sometimes being hard headed is good in business because it gives you, it makes you stubborn enough to stick at what you're doing. But sometimes being hard headed gets your hand smacked, and I got my hand smacked pretty hard, and I was facing some serious trouble at the time. And fortunately, I got through that.
You mean you paid them?
Yeah.
Or your ass was going to jail.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I dealt with that. My mother helped me out tremendously through that situation. I couldn't have done it by myself, and I paid restitution essentially, and I had to deal with the after effect of that.
How
but
did
I
that?
learned.
Yeah. How did that change you? Like, I'm pretty sure from a business structure that had to change you. Like what?
I got lucky because the judge could have taken everything from me and shut my doors.
Okay.
But he said, "Nah, I'm gonna let you stay open so you can keep paying his money."
Okay.
So he could have said, "Shut the business down and you still owe the money." But he was like, "Nah, keep your business going, just give me my money."
Okay.
And that's how I looked. That's how I dealt with it. How it affected my business was, after that, now I got 2 accountants.
Okay.
To make
That's what
sure
I'm talking about.
that this should get done. Because,
Right.
I understood accounting, but I don't want to do it every day. I want to focus on my business and my craft.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I knew what I was doing was improper, but I always thought I would have the time to make it up. And I lost that time.
Okay.
And I had to deal with that. And so that's probably top 3 most valuable lessons I've ever learned in business. Is, pay yourself last, but pay who you're supposed to pay first.
Absolutely.
And don't mess with that. That's not your money. That's their money. And I had to realize that, and I don't take that for granted any longer, ever. So that's how that came about.
So there, it's always out there that most small businesses fail within the first 2 years,
Correct.
Especially restaurants.
Correct.
Like, you're a unicorn out here because of how long you've been around. Like, how?
Well,
The hell you know?
part of it was learning that lesson early.
Learning that
Yeah,
lesson early.
we
And I'm glad I learned it then versus later. when I had become more established.
Right.
You know, the money that I was dealing with then, relatively speaking, was peanuts. It was all I had at the time, though.
Right.
So you couldn't tell me that, and I had to make it work out of the time. But to get to your last question, in 2009, my world changed again. The guy who owned the building that I was in came to me one day and said, your lease is up pretty soon, and I'm not sure if I'm going to renew it because you've been struggling, you know, to make ends meet. And I was like, I understand that, but I'm on the upside. I'm on the uptick, you know. my boat coming in, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling him whatever I can. But he was no slouch, you know. He's a real estate professional, very savvy gentleman. God rest his soul now. He passed a couple of years ago, but he became a mentor to me, actually. He said, so what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to reinvent. I'm going to come up with a different concept. And at the time, I had no idea what I was going to do.
Right.
But I knew I could not go back to him with the same song and dance about what I was doing and have him believe it was going to work.
Right.
And that's when I made a decision to pivot. And that's about the time that Randy had come back to North Carolina.
Right.
And, you know, because our relationship was just a natural fit, it made sense that we would try to partner up and do a new concept. And we thought about a number of different concepts. We had this notion of doing a gourmet hot dog parlor with, you know, different types of things.
So it's almost Dame's Dogs.
Yeah. Well, I had another name for it. I'm not going to share that name because I'm thinking about coming back out with that concept, actually.
All right. Hold on to that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's another podcast. You know, Randy also went to business school, super, super sharp, savvy, you know, real prudent financially.
Right. Shout out to Randy.
Yeah. So he gave me some wisdom in the sense that he's like, man, why don't you go do your craft and then I'll help with the books. You know what I'm saying? I was like, shit, that's all I need. You know, I ain't got to worry about it no more. I got somebody I can trust with me, and he trusts me to do the product. So it worked out. That's how we put it together. So I went back to my landlord. I said, look, I got this concept called chicken and waffles. And I think it's gonna go pretty good. And you know, financially, I'm a little more stable now. I got a partner now, and we can work this out. He looked at me and was like, what the hell is chicken and waffles, man? I was like,
Yeah.
well, there's that
You know
part.
now, 'cause everybody got chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
Everybody.
But you know, I've always been, you know, somewhat studious when it comes to something I'm interested in. And so I did the research, and I realized in North Carolina that there was really nobody focusing or specializing in chicken and waffles at this time.
Right.
You're talking about 2009, 2010.
Right.
A few restaurants had it on their menu, but nobody really specialized in it. And I really felt, and I say this humbly, I really felt like with my skill set, even though I don't have a culinary degree,
Man, say it with your chest out.
I felt like with my skill set, I can make this shit rock.
Right.
And my flavor profiles and things I had been doing kind of, you know, came together. And that's when I evolved. And like I was telling you about the naming conventions to the entrees and then the flavor profiles and then how we put it together. And then Randy's wife is also a chef, so she put the whole waffle package together for the flavored waffles with my flavored butters. And it was just, it came together like Wu-Tang, man. It's just, it's an amalgamation of different facets, and it was the perfect storm. So my landlord, he was still at the time, he was really not believing it. And so I let him taste the food. I made a sample, and he was like, oh,
this is chicken and waffles.
Right.
I don't even think he ate the waffle. I think he ate like some drumsticks and some collard greens. He's like, this is better than my great aunt's chicken. And so I knew he would go for it, but he wanted blood up front. So his thing was, I need about 3 or 4 months rent to feel safe about giving you a shot at this.
Right.
So we had to revamp our business plan because that 3 or 4 months rent was pretty much everything we were going to pour into the capital expenditure for the equipment and everything for the upfit. And he had to have that. He was not budging off of that. And so we gave him the bread. And then instead of hiring contractors to do the work on the building, we did that ourselves.
Right.
So like Randy is very hands-on. He laid the tile in the bathroom. I think we did everything except paint. We did pay a painter. But everything else, we put the pig, we put the makeup on the pig and made it go. And we bootstrapped it. And keep in mind, this is 2009, so it's at the height of the housing recession.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
So banks ain't touching nobody. Banks ain't giving money out to people who got, money in the bank.
Right.
So they was like, we can't do that for you. And then we tried a couple of, non-conventional lending institutions. They was like, we want your house, your car, your 2 fingers, and any kids you got. And I said, man, if I give you all that, I might as well sell that and use the bread myself.
Right.
So we put it together with some credit cards, man. That's how we got out the gate, with some credit cards. And we didn't owe anybody day one except ourselves. And it made a big difference down the line, because when the project hit the ground, I won't say it was instant success, but it was super fast. I mean, like super fast. This is during the time of MySpace. And so people would come to the restaurant, college kids, 3 or 4 at a time. They check in on MySpace, because 4 or 5 more kids is getting it. So it started going viral before viral was a thing.
Right.
And that's how word spread. We didn't spend a bunch of money on advertising because we didn't have it. It was all word of mouth.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And with Durham being a food city like it is, it didn't take long to catch. Plus, we were the only thing popping downtown at the time. You got to remember, before downtown is what it is now, it really wasn't safe to come downtown after dark. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I remember.
I would be in the kitchen at night prepping, and I'd be strapped up just because I'm like, I don't know who's going to come up on this door at any time.
Right.
And, it was one-way streets, no street lights, no police presence downtown. It was really kind of sketch after 5 o'clock.
Sketchy characters in every doorway.
Yeah, but the rent was cheap because as a result of that, so it made it work. But as things started to progress, we started out with just like limited hours, a few days a week during lunch, and then it caught on. And then I'll never forget that my neighbor at the time, next to the business, he owned an African gift shop, and he called me one Saturday. He's like, "Yo, man, you need to come down here." I'm like, "What's wrong?" He's like, "It's like 20, 30 people keep pulling on the door."
Right.
Because we hadn't opened up for the weekend yet. We just doing weekdays. And I was like, word, okay. So I drove down there, and I sat across the street in the parking lot and just clocked it for like an hour or two. And I probably saw like 50, 60 people coming to the door.
Pulling on the door.
And I was like, oh, we got to open up next weekend. This is too much money walking out of here. So
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How big was your menu starting out?
Man, great question. I really felt like, because nobody else was specializing in the concept, that we could really take over the lane, like really create the lane ourselves. And I felt the only way we could do that is just to really show that we are specializing in this concept.
Okay.
So I created 10 different versions of chicken and waffles.
Right.
And that was the menu.
See, from what I see, a lot of restaurants, when they first are, especially of the culture, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
They had this big ass menu.
No.
And I'm always like, how are you keeping this stuff? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so now you got massive amounts of inventory on hand.
Yeah.
And
menu engineering is a science for real. And if you can't use a product, at least 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 different ways in the restaurant, you maybe want to reconsider having it in your kitchen at all. Because it can fester and become an issue for you. So my goal was to say, okay, I got these 10 entrees, and I dare anybody to challenge me for this crown.
Okay.
And so how are most wars fought, right? You go to a land, you say this is our land, and anybody step to it, we battling.
Right.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had a pretty good moat around our kingdom in terms of our product line, and I felt, after I did the research, that, if anybody's gonna step to us on this level, then I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
And I had some serious product differentiators. Like, nobody ever had heard of anything called a schmear, a flavored butter.
I seen that shit. What the fuck is
Yeah.
that?
And
You know now, don't you?
Yeah. Right.
And then Chef Beth hit you with the sweet potato waffle and the gingerbread waffle and the red velvet waffle. And you like, damn.
And I'm sitting over
This
here
ain't
mad now because my plan was to come in here and order something.
Oh, hold on. We ain't gonna eat. We're not eating.
They closed now, man.
We're not eating.
We done sat here and waited till they closed.
I'm gonna take my ball and go home. This shit ain't right,
I'm gonna figure out something for you, bro.
This ain't right, man.
We'll figure out something for you.
It's your fault, man.
Yeah, it is, man. I'm sorry.
Hey, man, it means you got to come back and kick it again, man. Which I'm happy to do.
Definitely do that.
Yeah, so I really felt like we had some really unique components that made us, stand out in the market. Mm-hmm. And then the recipe for the chicken in and of itself was, standalone was killer.
Right.
So,
oh man, the chicken is ridiculous.
I felt pretty good about our ability to defend ourselves against competition, as it were. Although we were with the competition, and I always knew that, I put 7 flavors of schmears out there and 7 sauces, but I probably had another 25 flavors in the vault. Like I wish a joker would. You had that trump card, and we.
You had a Trump wing.
I had the Trump recipes, man. So that's kind of how I put it together. But that's how it was, man. So to answer your question, we put those 10 out there, and we didn't deviate for like a year and a half. Okay. Before I added anything, no shrimp and grits, no salads, no sandwiches. Like, this is it. You come in here, that's what you're getting.
Right.
So I knew, from a marketing perspective, as the genre of chicken and waffles store began to grow, our name would be at the forefront. Right. So even if you go somewhere else and try chicken and waffles, good for you. I'm glad you did. Mm-hmm. But you're gonna always compare it to names.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So even if you like their stuff better, I'm still part of the conversation, which is a win for me.
Now.
Which is a win for me. Exactly.
Chicken and waffles you're the standard. The gold standard is now Dames. You're gonna have chicken and waffles, whether it's as good as Dames.
And this was a sit-down establishment.
Yes, it was.
It was. Okay.
We had about 35, 40 seats in the whole joint.
How big was your workforce?
Team? I had a lot of turnover back then.
Yeah.
But at any given time, it was maybe 20 people at the max.
Okay.
And I was a tyrant back then. Like, Jerome knows me from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of an easygoing, laid back person.
Right.
Until you rub it, until you agitate me.
You like firing people?
I don't lose no sleep over that.
Okay.
But I tell you, I don't like it at all.
Right.
Because I know I'm dealing with somebody's livelihood, and I take that very seriously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, before I get to the point where I got to fire you, unless you're just being, absolutely malicious, or you're stealing, or you're violent, or something crazy like that, if I have to release you from the team, I've given you an opportunity already to correct your behavior.
Okay.
And I've told you about what it is that I need from you, and if you don't meet that standard, then that's on you.
Oh, you was a motherfucker. Yeah. Well, you had to be though, right?
I can tell.
I had everything I had was really incumbent upon this whole process and project working. Mm-hmm. I had 2 small children at the time. My second daughter had just been born, or was about to be born. No, she was 3 years old. So, and my oldest was 5. So I was like, I got to make a way for these kids, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't playing about this.
Right.
Well, speaking of when you say you were a tyrant, that speaks to quality control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to a certain degree.
So I watched Dame grow from one restaurant to various spots. Mm-hmm. And being that you're the kind of person, I can tell there's extreme quality control, and that's part of why people enjoy coming to the business. How hard is it to maintain quality control once you branch out like that?
It's very challenging. Quality control really is just a part of the culture of the restaurant.
Right.
And, what morals you espouse, what ethics you have, what policies and procedures you have in place. And, it's easy if it's not easy, it's easier if it's just one store and you're there all the time and you can make that go and you can make changes on the fly and you can pivot on the dime, and that's not that challenging.
Right.
Compared to, I got a store an hour away from here and I need y'all to be doing the same thing they doing over here, but I ain't down there.
Right.
Or I'm going down there and I need y'all to hold this down while I'm gone. And you rely and trust on people to get the job done. And anytime you have to put your faith in man, you're taking a hell of a risk.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
You're taking I don't care what it is, you're taking a hell of a risk. And so one thing I've always tried to do is promote from within, or let people lead from within, because I feel like if you're already on my team, you kind of know what I expect. You understand the culture, so you can champion that and go forward. But there's challenges with that too.
Right.
You hire someone, you promote them, you help them ascend, and now they have to manage the people they used to be their former colleagues.
Yeah.
So when I used to get off work and kick it and hang out and all that, now that's not necessarily a good thing, because now I got to come to work and tell you how to do your job. And you like, shorty, you was just hanging out with me last night drinking blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So it takes a certain level of maturity and professionalism to be able to do that, and everybody doesn't necessarily have that.
Right, right.
So, trying to really establish that culture is what we always focus on, man, and really understand it, let people understand this is the standard, man. Like, and we're not going to waver on certain things.
So after you made your first million and you started looking at the other places, right? How did you know it was time to expand? Like, did an opportunity come up? Like, how did that happen?
It was a year and a half in, and Randy and I were like, yeah, we doing pretty good.
Y'all made $1 million in a year and a half. Damn.
I didn't say that.
Well, that's what your Google net worth is.
I didn't say that. We did well for ourselves.
Right.
But I think more importantly than how much money we made was how much money we kept, because we didn't have any debt. So everything we were making, we were reinvesting back into the business. And we took,
talk about that.
We took very meager incomes from the business early on, because we were thinking about longevity. You know what I'm saying? And Randy still had a part-time, full-time job at the time. I was putting everything I had into this, so I was getting a little bread, but it still wasn't where I wanted to be yet. So we stacked our chips up, and we were pretty frugal about that. That's one thing I said. Randy is financially disciplined like nobody I know.
Well, I'm talking about the part about expanding.
Right. So what I'm getting to is a year and 8 months in, we had already talked about expanding, and we liked Greensboro because Greensboro was our second home. We went to school there. We knew the market fairly well. We still had some business connections there. And I got a phone call in the middle of like 8 o'clock at night. The guy said, "Yo, man, you got to come see this space downtown."
If it's the same spot I went to, that shit dope, man. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yo, man, it looked like something out of New Orleans."
Right.
And so when he said that, I already had a vision in my mind about what it was. But when he told me the address, I'm like, MLK? I know what that is. I've been through there before, but I'm not going over there.
You got this. You didn't know it had been gentrified.
I did not know. I had been away for almost 10 years. So I didn't realize when the area he told me was where Gus's package store was.
Yeah, you got to go down the block.
So
you right on the corner.
I'm 2
of
blocks
that
away
street.
from where Gus's was, and we all know, Gus had the coldest beer in the city. So
all that's gone.
All that's gone. All
They
that's
swept
gone.
it right away.
Yeah, that's now a school.
Right.
That's a school now. So he was adamant about it. So my good friend Ben, I was like, man, ride with me down to Greensboro, man. So we get ready to ride down here, and it is a rainstorm like none other, like a monsoon. We can't even really see. By the time we get to Mebane, we can barely see out the car.
Jeez.
And I'm like, man, let's just go on down here and see what's up, man. So it's thunder and lightning, wind and rain. We get down there finally, and I see the building, and the building is gorgeous. I can't get in the building, but it's a gorgeous building.
Right.
And so I come back home. I tell Randy about the space. We get on the phone. We start making phone calls. We get to see the building, and the numbers made sense. And that's what really drew us to it. The numbers made sense on the building. And so 4 months later, we were open.
Downtown Durham, MLK, and Greensboro.
Yeah.
So you got 2 spots in the hood right here.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Right. Damn.
Yeah. But downtown Durham was undergoing revitalization. Slowly.
Yeah.
And in downtown, where we were on the fringe of downtown in Greensboro, it had already started the revitalization. So where we were, where it used to be a certain element, it's now townhouses and luxury apartments across the street. So it was already kind of made for us to slide in there and still maintain our character, as it were, but still do the thing right there.
Well, real quick, Now, I got a question for you, and I know a lot of people want to know, how does a place beloved end up not succeeding? So we know Greensboro closed recently, and this is what I see when I go online. I see people, I saw somebody hold a funeral.
Yes,
No,
man.
seriously.
Like,
I saw they did a funeral online for Dame's Chicken and Waffle in Greensboro.
Yeah.
Did you see that,
I
man?
saw, I've seen
We knew it
multiple
was
people
coming, yeah.
post about the sadness they have
Yes.
that this restaurant is closed. So, and for a lot of people, there's a disconnect. It's like, well, people love it, and we know that if people love it, that means the food was good,
Right.
And they enjoyed themselves and they had a positive experience.
Right.
So how does it not work? We talk,
Well, I'm gonna challenge you on something you just said. How does it fail? I don't think Greensboro was a failure ultimately,
right?
and I'm gonna tell you why. We had a 13-year run. Nobody gave us a chance to succeed or do anything down there, and we blew it out the water for years. It helped me grow as a business person. It helped me grow as a chef. It helped me grow as a man in kind of ways because of the responsibility that we undertook to make that happen. What happened in Greensboro was kind of like an imperfect storm. A lot of things that happened at the same time that fragmented the business and brought us to a point where we say we need to go ahead and divest now so that we can rebuild in the future,
Right.
potentially. And we were making transitions in Durham, and I need to focus my attention here in this city because this is my foundation.
This
my
is the
home.
flagship.
This is the flagship, exactly. But I said, it's hard to duplicate the culture.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't maintain the culture in your business, what you want it to be, the culture would redefine itself and create a subculture.
Absolutely.
And in a lot of ways, that's what was happening with our personnel there. The leadership, we struggled with leadership. We had some challenges with management down there for a number of years, being consistent. And some of the personnel matters probably didn't get addressed as well as they should have, which left things unsettled. And ultimately, what happened in Greensboro as a whole, in downtown Greensboro, caused us to perish in that market.
Right.
But what happened in downtown was interesting because I think downtown Greensboro has tried to not copy, but do something similar to what downtown Durham has accomplished, and they're not quite there yet. And it's not nearly as successful as what's happened in downtown Durham. And
By way of restaurants.
entertainment, nightlife, culture, all those things. It's not popping like it is in Durham. It's just not. And
Do you think it has something to do with that? Because in my opinion, it's a little more commercial
right.
than Durham. I'm talking about what they're trying to do downtown Greensboro.
I wouldn't necessarily know that part of it directly, DL, but I do know what's happening is that a lot more development's happening in the northern and western side of Greensboro, not downtown. So if you want to go to something downtown, you got to really want to go downtown Greensboro.
This is what happened in Greensboro. Greensboro focused on downtown before Durham did.
Exactly.
And we're on and now it's moved on. So whereas what we're seeing in Durham is it's still growing into something. Greensboro had grown into that, and what you see now is a shell of what it used to be at one time, entertainment-wise.
Okay.
And that in itself hurts all the businesses on Elm Street.
Okay.
You know?
And we were a block and a half, not even a full block away from Elm Street. So
Right.
that's what that was. So, I'm not going to blame what happened in the dynamics of downtown Greensboro on why we didn't continue. It was in part of our own doing as well. But I think that those elements together made it extremely hard to overcome. And we tried different things to get back on the upright, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And so we decided to bow out gracefully. Now, what came after that was just a humbling and amazing experience for me personally. I think we had over 1.5 million views on Facebook and over 600,000 likes on Instagram. It was just crazy. It was phenomenal.
Right.
And it really humbled me in the sense that, wow, people really cared about our brand that much. And I realized, you've been there for a generation. You've seen so many people come through the colleges there.
Right.
So many people who've seen how downtown Greensboro evolved. And then a good friend of mine, I won't say whose name, but a good friend of mine said, yeah, them fools should have all gave $1. We could have kept it going for a few more years. But I understand it, man. People have a lot of options now and so many choices now.
Right.
Especially in a market like Greensboro where geographically it's spread all over the city. And you have so many different things you can go check out. And, we became not a top option for a lot of people.
Yeah. And the economy's different too,
It is. It really is. And then, A&T built this amazing dining facility on campus.
Oh, wow.
So folks didn't have to leave campus, like they once did. And then Bennett College, which is on the same street we were, they went through some changes. So their student body declined a little bit. And, like I said, everybody knows what happened with the rest of downtown Greensboro.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised to see a lot of stuff on Elm Street close, areas where, a couple of blocks that used to be lit are just kind of dead now.
Yeah.
But then the energy has moved closer to old Lee Street than it used to be too. But, just not the same as it used to be.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
So here we are. You've gotten a lot of awards lately. I just saw an article in the News and Observer that listed you, and since my phone is over here recording this, I had saved a picture of it because my mother sent it to me.
Oh, wow.
She's like, check this out. Dame's like top 5 restaurants in North Carolina or something like that. What was that? But before I talk about what was that, I've seen you get a lot of awards, and I know you didn't get into this to get awards. But when you're getting recognized constantly, consistently since you've opened, every so often I'm going to see you mentioned as one of the best in the Triangle, one of the best in Durham, one of the best in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And that's a tough place to get, and you're in a competitive market. How does that feel, and how hard is it to maintain that? Because, like I said, you just got another one recently. So that means that speaks to quality control, first off. But how hard is it to maintain this standing? You moved locations 3 times, you've opened other stores, and here we are still getting awards.
I appreciate it. I'm honored. I know Randy feels the same way. We don't take it for granted by any means because this is easily be, flee from here. But it's not what we do it for.
Yeah.
I'm more proud of the number of people that we employ in the local community. Right. The amount of give back, the amount of give back we're able to do within the local community.
Right.
We get phone calls every week. Someone wants a contribution, a donation, a gift card for something for a different event, and we can't help everybody. But if it's a worthy cause, I'm damn sure gonna try.
Hey, I'll attest that Dame has helped my AAU basketball team. We wouldn't have made it to South Carolina were it not for this man.
But I take giving back very seriously. That's kind of how we were founded because when we started, the business, I told you it was at the height of the housing recession, so nobody would give us money. So we still had that market and advertising. And one of the ways we came up with marketing and advertising is that we partnered with some local nonprofits and said to them, look, why don't you host an event? Let us come and sell chicken waffle sandwiches for $5, $6 a piece to your patrons, or to your attendants rather, and y'all keep all the money. And they were like, what? Keep all the bread? You don't want to split? I was like, no. And they said, okay. We'll do it. Now, what I knew was people who supported these nonprofit organizations are loyal to them for their cause. They have conviction for some reason. And in turn, when they saw that we contributed to the same cause, they would come and support us.
Right.
So that happened. I also knew that the amount of money that it would cost me to spend on the food to sell was way less than any other kind of print media or marketing advertising that I could have paid for.
Wow.
And I knew directly I knew from whence my customers came, because they was like, oh yeah, you catered the event last week. You sold me a sandwich. I'm here to support you now. Versus somebody coming in and say, yeah, I saw it on a billboard or a magazine or on the radio or whatever.
Right.
Unless they bring a coupon or something. You don't really know where your customers are coming from.
Right.
And so I wanted that connection to the community. That was very important to me from a business perspective and from a humanitarian perspective. And so we did that, and that's how we got it to jump early in terms of the marketing side of things. Yeah.
Do you think something like that will work now?
I think so. We still continue to do that.
Still now?
Not just to generate business, but because I feel obligated to give back to my community. I mean, and I don't see how anybody could be in business within a community and not try to give back in some way.
Right.
I mean, the people who come here, we don't just deal with tourists. I deal with people who live across the street, around the block, up the corner.
Right.
And leaders in the community as well, from, whether it be municipality or government or churches or schools. You see those people in your community when you go to the grocery store, when you go to church, when you're out walking the dog, you're gonna see these people. And they know you. So you better have something good to say.
Right.
In that regard. At least that's how I feel. That's me personally. That's how I feel.
Well, question: Do those community ties bring you to here? Like right now, we're on Driver Street in Durham right now, and this is the community. We're in the community right now.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And we're seeing a revitalization of this area. If you guys get a chance to come out, like you'll notice there are businesses here on Driver Street. I've been out here for parties. It's been lit. There's a patio area and everything. And now your presence here means something, not just to the community, but it means something to other businesses as well. I think that right now, in some way, you help legitimize the growth that we're seeing. And I hope a lot of other businesses come this way too.
I do too. I really hope so. But it's a burgeoning area. It's been some stop and go development in this side of town for a number of years, but I think there's some serious momentum now happening in East Durham. I'm glad to be a part of it, however big or significant that may or may not be. I'm happy to be here.
You helped do it for downtown. Like when you got to downtown was no different than what's happening on Driver Street right now.
This is true. We were one of the few businesses that really got it popping downtown, and I'm grateful that we had that benefit of it. It's a little bit different here because there's not as much effort
It is a little bit
or
different.
push, and because of I think that the demographic in this particular marketplace, it might not get the same amount of attention that downtown proper does, but I call this uptown. I call where we are uptown east.
Let's
downtown.
Let's rebrand it.
We're gonna rebrand it. This uptown east.
Uptown Durham.
Uptown Durham East, and this used to be a thriving. It still is a thriving community. Don't get it twisted. But commercially, in terms of merchants and so forth, that there was more to offer years ago, and I think that is coming back slowly but surely, and that couldn't happen at a better time for the city of Durham.
So I got a question, like with the city, you don't have to get too specific, but
Sure.
How helpful or supportive has the city been?
In this effort, right, in this most recent project?
I mean, just speaking generally, since you've been doing business in the city.
I think the city gave me a grant money for a sign outside my restaurant when I was downtown, and that was helpful. But outside of that, we've never really participated in any other funding programs or anything like that offered by the city.
That's by choice.
Mostly by choice.
Okay.
Nothing is free.
Yeah.
And interest can be a devil on money. So I've always tried to say, look, if we can do it on our own, I may forego the 9/11 to keep me from having to pay interest or whatever. So but I think it's just a matter of what fits for your particular business. Some folks are very comfortable with debt and dealing with those types of things. Some folks prefer not to. And if you have the benefit or the luxury to choose, then you make the right choice for you. I think there is a time and a place for debt. When we built that second location in Durham on Foster Street, we took a little construction loan to do it, so we didn't absorb all of our capital at the time, and we paid it back early, to get it off our shoulders because we were in a good space at the time, so it made sense to do that. But coming over here, we did it with our own bread, and we've got a really good landlord here for the time, and he's been able to work with us to make the transition, beneficial to us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yo, okay.
So when you think future plans,
Yeah.
what's on your mind? Like what? No, first I want to ask, in a perfect world. So I'm not gonna, let's say in a perfect world, everything go exactly the way you wanted to go. What would you have happen with Dame's Chicken and Waffles?
The immediate future is laser focused on Durham and where we're sitting right now. This is my near-term future, my long-term, my long view as well. Durham has always been my test kitchen for new products and concepts. It's always been where I've had the most strength from the support from the local community.
Right.
I live in this community. Excuse me. So I got to be comfortable at home.
Right.
I got to be able to walk around this city with my head up and hold my responsibilities. So that's first. I think once we get to a point where I'm a little more comfortable with what we have here or what we're trying to establish in this location, then we'll maybe consider branching out again. Mm-hmm. I would love to go back to Greensboro at some point. I would love to address other parts of Wake County at some point. I think we would do extremely well for ourselves in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And I'm from the 2-6, and man, if I could do something at home, like,
yeah,
that would really, from a personal perspective, that would really touch me, to be able to do something at home. There's a lot of growth at home, and part of the challenges with Fayetteville is just that a lot of the youth down there don't have the same opportunities that other people have for whatever reasons.
And they loose down there, man.
Yeah, they get busy. They get busy. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Fayetteville gets busy. Them kids get active sometimes, man. So
right, with a capital A.
With a capital A, and they're not bashful about it.
Right.
Yeah. But if I could do something to contribute to the success and growth of that community as well, I would love to do that. But ultimately, it really starts with one store at a time, and making sure the foundation is right, and then spill over into other markets. But I would love to grow the business across the state, and then regionally across the Eastern Seaboard and so forth. We are able to franchise this concept. We've already proven that. And I think that'll be a growth path for us. I don't necessarily want to own personally 30 or 40 stores, but I could see that happening over time, given the right scenario and the right partnerships and relationships to make it go. I've seen, I won't say lesser concepts, but I've seen concepts that I thought we might have been better than do numbers. And I know it's not necessarily because of the product, it's because they have the relationships and they have the financial prowess and the operational prowess to be able to grow and expand the businesses. Mm-hmm. And that's where it is. But it goes back to what I said early on. It's like, if you're in business, the most valuable thing you can possess is understanding what you don't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you said that, because my listeners want to know, like, okay, I sell plates. What advice, what five things, the five most important things you would say to me as a small business trying to start in North Carolina?
In this industry, it's tough because it's so many ways you can cut paper in this industry. You can sell plates. You can do the food truck now, and then in the food truck and the mobile industry, it's just changed the game entirely for food services. Mm-hmm. Because it's not the old Roach Coach taco trucks from 20, 30 years ago. You have very sophisticated concepts and foods available now that were never thought of to exist before. What I tell anybody going into business is to have a plan, like a literal business plan. And you can go to, if you've never done business before, you can go online and get templates to do that. You can also, take some classes at the local community college. Even in some cities, I think Durham used to have a small business center where you can go take free classes on entrepreneurship and things like that, just so you start to understand the framework of a business. So you understand debits and credits and receivables and payables and how tax structures work and how payroll works and those types of things that you gonna have to apply no matter what type of business that you're in. That's essential.
Right.
A lot of people out here got some great food. I ain't gonna sit here in line and say I haven't tasted food better than mine. But do you have the business sense to go with it?
Right.
And that's what separates. I also think it's a great idea to get some training in your craft, whether it's formal or informal, whether you go to culinary school or whether you do a stage at a restaurant or you go get a job and working in a restaurant.
Just knowing how to cook is one thing. Say go get the training.
Go get the training.
Right.
Yeah. Understand what inventory management is. Understand sanitation and hygiene in a restaurant. You're dealing with people's lives. Don't take that for granted, man. Don't play with that. Label and date everything in your kitchen.
Right.
I'm so
Say it again. Say it again.
Label and date everything in your kitchen.
And don't keep changing the date.
No, don't chase the date. Date shit.
I know y'all be doing that. I watch Shadow 5. They're gonna get you.
Yeah, but I'm OCD about stuff like that, man. And my staff is like, "Come on, man, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, go through that cooler."
Yeah.
And everything in there needs to be labeled, and it needs to be a date on it, and I want to see it, and I want. Matter of fact, it's test day, and they're like, "What? We gonna taste everything in this kitchen and see what's up." For quality control.
Quality control.
I don't play about that whatsoever.
Hey, next time y'all do that, can you call me?
I got you. Yeah, I got you for sure. There's that, and then you make this. This is probably maybe the most important. One of the most important things. Make good decisions when you add people to your team.
So we didn't talk about team building. I usually ask that question.
Make good decisions when you add people to. Everybody looks good on paper when they come for the interview.
Right.
And I've been bamboozled like this, over the years myself. I'm like, wow, you look good on paper, and then you hire him and you train him up, and then 2 weeks later, this is not the same person I hired, man. Like, what happened? And
right, and they'll wreck your business too.
Oh my God!
Because once you're not in the room, the next person in charge is the face of the business.
Yeah.
And if that's the wrong person, man, then it looks bad on you.
It looks
bad on the restaurant. It looks bad on the business. You don't want to come back.
Yeah. Right. And a lot of people don't understand that who work for you. They're there to get their money, which is fine, but they don't understand that they're a part of something bigger than themselves, and they represent me and this brand.
Yeah.
And you got to take that as an owner. You have to take the initiative and decide who you want to represent you.
Right.
I don't discriminate against anybody, but there's certain people or certain things or certain personality traits, maybe I guess what it said, that just I know are not going to work in this culture, in this environment.
Right.
And I try to. I try to avoid those situations as best I can. And then, oftentimes you want to give somebody a shot. Or, I've had success with that, where I give somebody a chance that maybe somebody else wouldn't, and they appreciate it to the point where they're going to
they learn how to do the work.
They learn how to do the work. They're going to represent the brand. They're going to hold you down. They're going to keep you looking good. And that's priceless. That's a great and very rewarding situation to be in when you know that you've helped someone and they return the favor by fulfilling what their commitment was to you as well.
Right. I got something to throw at you. Like, we always talking music. And from a musical perspective, I got to hit you with this one.
Okay.
As a DJ, if I come across 3 or 4 songs that sound good together, play them a few times, eventually other DJs may pick up on, hey, those 3 songs do sound good together. Sometimes it's inevitable that it may happen with or without my input. But eventually, everybody's doing that mix.
Right.
Chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
when you first started Chicken and Waffles in Durham, I didn't know of another place I could go get chicken and waffles.
Okay.
I know as a DJ, sometimes I hate it when other people do what I'm doing. It forces me to do something else. How do you feel about all the copycats? And it's not, and we're not saying that Dame invented chicken and waffles.
By
okay?
no means.
What I'm saying is here, chicken and waffles was not a big deal. Now everywhere I go, they got chicken and waffles on the menu, and I'm 100% sure it's because of the success of Dame's Chicken and Waffles. I promise you it is.
Right.
So, how do you feel when you see that? It's like, oh, man.
I'm not going to embellish that, Jerome. I'm not so certain that that's the case, and the reason I say that is, I remember maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, I can't remember which brand it was, but a potato chip company came out with a chicken and waffles potato chip.
Lay's. They did the
Remember
flavor
that?
thing. Yeah,
Okay.
Right. So you're saying maybe nationally, chicken and waffles was experiencing a moment in
think
conjunction.
The timing was just
Perfect.
was particularly perfect because it was something that was trending more so. But chicken and waffles been popping for going on 100 years out of Harlem, if you know the history. And then you got Roscoe's doing this thing in California since the
Gladys Knight
70s.
had hers.
They had their run in Atlanta and DC. So I think as of late, it became somewhat trendy and fashionable, and I was already on that wave, and so we just kind of rose with that.
I gotta wonder, man. Like, we've been growing up hearing about chicken and waffles our whole life,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
We knew about Roscoe's. We
Yeah.
knew you could go, to all these different cities and have, but they never popped off nationally. Like, you
Right.
gotta wonder, what is it about chicken and waffles right now? It's kind of the same thing happened to the chicken wing too. It's like chicken wings. They used to get chicken wings for a quarter. Like, when did the chicken wing become a delicacy?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn dollar.
Yeah. When did?
I can't really explain the phenomenon. I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, I bet you
damn
are.
sure.
Right.
I'm happy to be a part of it, and I like to think we've contributed to some of the success of the genre, if you will, or the style.
Yeah, is this going on in every state?
But
Like,
if I do entertain your question, imitation is a great form of flattery. So
hey, they seen it working.
That's number one, and number two, it reminds me, you still got work to do.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can get knocked off of the pedestal like anybody else can. Not saying we're on top of the pedestal, but there's a reason recipes don't have patents, right?
Right.
It's because they're all interpretations or reinterpretations of something that already existed,
Right.
right? Until they find another protein to kill and eat. And pretty much everything that we eat is to some degree a reinterpretation of something that's already existed.
Right.
True that.
So
True that.
So what's next?
I don't know.
Yeah, what's
I'm
next
trying to
on the
see.
menu,
I'm trying to see
man?
if I can get Elon to bring me something back from Mars, and I can cook that up.
Well, we
know?
saw the shrimp and grits get added to the menu because the original menu did not have the shrimp and grits.
No.
And I want to say that I had the personal honor of being one of the first people to try them.
did.
Dane brought some
Okay.
shrimp and grits. When I first moved to Durham in 2011, he was like, yo, I got some shrimp and grits, man. I'm going to bring I had a little Super Bowl party. He's like, you got to try these out because they're not even in the restaurant yet. Wow. And I was like, man, put them in the restaurant immediately.
You were on it for sure.
But yeah, and so and I know you're an experimental type of dude. So
sure.
like Dane just told you, the smears that are on the menu. You got 100 more smears back there that you know nothing about. So is there something that you've been really thinking about seriously adding? Because when you have stuff waiting in the wings, that means that when you see everybody want to have chicken and waffles, you can pull something out and add it. So give us a gem. Give us something that nobody knows, something you've been working up behind the scenes that we can say, you heard it here first.
Yeah, so fish is my favorite dish.
Ooh.
I love fish
that's
all
what I
kinds of ways, all kinds of cultures. From sushi to calabash to hot pot to escovitch. Fish is my favorite dish. And so when I'm home and I cook for myself, I spend a lot of time on the fish.
So there could possibly, I'm not gonna push you any further. I'm not gonna push you any further.
I've been showing a little love to the fish in the store lately. Like for during Black History Month, we celebrated Mardi Gras and we did a fish dish then. Also during Black History Month, we celebrated the African diaspora and we did some West Indian cuisine. So we did the snapper. And so I think that's going to probably become a fixture on the menu, or maybe a rotating item on the menu. But fish will definitely be a part of it. And who knows, that may prompt me to spin off and do another concept with fish and seafood.
Okay.
So nothing too fancy, but something certainly proper.
That's major insight. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and I'll be sure to bring somebody to the crib let you check it out for you.
That's what I like to hear right there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we're going to wrap this thing up. You know what I mean? Hey, listen. Thanks for sitting in with us, those of you watching on Facebook Live right now. Yes, we are live in the restaurant. You can actually hear people enjoying their Dame's chicken and waffles in the background. You know what I mean? But this episode will be released on all streaming platforms. Soon we have a schedule. We record, then we release. So you're getting the preview right now.
The raw.
So thanks for stepping in. This has been the Capital City Podcast. I'm your host, Capital J, alongside my main man.
DL Glass.
And the one and only.
Dame.
Just Dame.